Alright, so what's the deal out there? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna start this one off. We're gonna start this one off with a little challenge. I wanna see if anybody can top my crazy story. Some hmm, yeah, some crazy event occur. So we're gonna see if y'all could top that before we get into the title, before we get into the whole topic. Let me get in here. FDJ Beats, Felix Almanzar. What's the deal? But yeah, y'all the first to win. Let me see if y'all could top me, right? If y'all got a crazier story than I got. Hold on 1 second. In case of this, I don't think it's gonna go off, but I gotta check something real quick. Yes. My bad. I had to check something out right there a little bit crazy. Wise understanding, what's the deal? This wise understanding from Far Rock, right? But what about you, wise understanding, Shaka Nulu? You think you got a story that's crazier? Matter of fact, do I have any moderators in here? Wait a minute, let me put Shaka Nulu to moderate because I didn't realize until after I kicked until after I went live that we got the vertical screen today. The vertical screen brings out some other people we're not used to. Divine was the science. Coney Island, right? My bad. I knew it was out there, that section. But yeah, does anybody think, I'm giving everybody a chance to tell me your craziest story from last night, right? Tell me your craziest story from last night, and I'll see if you can top what I got. Or is everybody just tapping out? If y'all tapping out from the jump, right? And you already know whatever happened last night was boring. You don't want to try to compete with what I got. Because I'm telling you can't win. You cannot win. Anyone? If you tapping out, just say you tap out. Shakanulu is tapping out already. Anybody else? I'm telling you, this is, this is, I'm waiting. I want to see anybody try it, because this is, so why is in the standard time shot as well? So look, let's just go on ahead, right? I'm in the suspense right here. So as soon as I click in the stream on the live stream yesterday, right? As soon as I click in the stream on the live stream, I get a call from King Saint, and he has Wakil on the other line. It's Wakil and another brother, they on the other line. That really happened. Look, I don't know. Listen, I don't know how much crazier life could get than that. Like, listen, did anybody think that that's what I was going to say? Type one in the box, right? Type one in the box if you are completely shocked that King Saint called me with Wakil on the other line. Divine understanding. Yeah, I didn't think you could top that. I didn't think you could top that, Shaggy. That right there, that listen, I was look, is see, remember what I've been saying all this time, right? About just maturity and how you grow into, you grow into this knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You grow into, a certain way of activating, and I could tell that because just the way I reacted to him telling me that this was the situation. See, by the way, he's texting me right now, King Saint. See, he's unfortunately, he's one of the people where it's like, see, you're delusion about who you are, but I'm not delusion. He's mad now. He's mad now because I told him, look, if you want to be Muslim guy, that's I don't got a problem with that. But don't expect me to behave as if you're not Muslim guy. If you want to still talk like we on 225th. So, but look though, I tell you this much though. Surprisingly, we actually had a good conversation. The conversation was actually going in a direction where, I thought we was going to come to, a common understanding. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not necessarily agreement, you know what I'm saying, but a common understanding of, at the very least, look, this is what it is. Right? We've made our stances official. Even if that was the only common understanding, I thought but King Sun wouldn't shut up. it got to the point where it's like, I see you about to make me, you know. So it's like, look, this is what's best, right? Let's get off the phone now while everything is peace. So then maybe at some other time, right, we might be able to continue this is, before this goes left. So he's King Sense texting me right now. Look, I'm gonna hit him when we get off of here. In fact, you know what? Let me send him the link. Should I send him the link? Type one in the box. Type one in the box if y'all think I should send him the link. You know what I mean? I'm gonna leave it up to y'all. But let me put it. I'll put it in there. Let me put it in the chat here, right? Because I want some input from some other people anyway when we get into the topic of the live, right? We already want that to be the case. So just because you don't know who or what you are doesn't mean that I don't know who or what you are exactly. That's how I look at it. True light. That's how I look at it. I don't, well, he claims that he doesn't watch. You know what I mean? So look, we got quite a few ones. So look, when I make this little transfer right here, wait a minute, is there a way I can do it over here? For whatever reason, I don't see him over there right now. So we're gonna we're gonna we're gonna go black real quick, but we're gonna send him this link. All right. So we sent him the link. We'll see what he does. We sent him the link right there, and we will see what he does. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that was the entertainment portion. I don't know if all of the people, if you came in from the very beginning, but I was just telling the people that a crazy thing happened to me after I got off the live stream yesterday, and King Sun called me with Wakil and another brother on the other line. So I found that fascinating. Let's see where that proceeds to where that eventually goes. Who can say? But we can get back to the nitty gritty now, right? Of the 5% having an impact on the future. You know what I'm saying? Where's, see, he wants to keep texting me. Come on the live stream. Hold up. Y'all gotta bear with me. Y'all know I like, you know, he is who he is. Yeah, my bad, y'all. The alerts, yeah, yo, you know what? People gotta respond. It's all the things. You gotta hit the all the buttons, the like buttons. You know how we are over here. They don't necessarily, you know, want us saying what we saying. So, you know, I'm sure every couple of live streams I probably hit a topic or say a word or a phrase that you know puts me back down in the algorithm. Who knows? True divine, what's the science? What you got to say about that, true divine? About uh, what impact? What impact can the 5% have on future generations? I mean, like you know, the history is already written. The history is already written of the impact that it's had so far. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure most of the people, you know, in the world don't realize, you know, that, you know, certain elements of pop culture, whatever that they uh, you know, absorbed and you know, they partake in, uh, you know, originated from our culture. Love, peace, and happiness. Yeah, see now look, this is what I'm saying when you say love, peace, and happiness. If the truth don't stop them, nothing will. These kinds of things. It's like this is a key right here too, right? Shaka Nulu said they have to want it. Jigga 1017 came in. If the truth don't stop all people from being blind, deaf, and dumb, nothing will. I mean, you got a point, right? But at the same time, uh, you know, the people gotta hear the truth. They gotta experience the truth. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you gotta experience it in a form. You know, like somebody could tell you that, uh, you know, army uniforms is camouflage, right? And that's the truth. But that don't have no, you know, how you really gonna use that? How you really gonna use that to, you know, improve anything about your situation? You know what I mean? If we saying that heaven and hell is right here on the planet, right? You know, how is that helping us progress towards heaven on earth? You know, when we just say if the truth doesn't stop them, nothing will. The true self said you got to put the truth in its purest form. Okay, I can agree. I can agree with that, right? But look, this is something like back in the days, right? Uh, there was people, when we had the definitions like know the ledge and wise the dumb and all that, right? You have brothers that used to say that supreme meant brothers that was named supreme. Some of them would say that uh I'm supreme because I got the soup that tastes like ice cream for the babies. You know what I'm saying? Ice cream to the babies, rather, meaning that it's soup because it was nourishing. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, it could revive somebody from being in a state of blind, deaf, and dumb. But it tastes like ice cream, so uh, the babies was eager to consume it. So we not the 20%, we the 5%. So we're always going to be the so-called minority. I mean, for me, the number don't really say you're Adamus. Welcome to the channel. The truth, like causation, are illusions of belief. All there is correlation and connection. Those patterns will either benefit you or vary until they harm you. And see, this is like, I understand all of these levels of philosophy. You know what I'm saying? But, illusions of belief, the truth, he says that the truth, like causation, are illusions of the belief. Look, there's facts and circumstances of life. We just reading books. You know what I'm saying? We just read books that we could kind of, I guess, contemplate these things. But there's hard times, hunger, nakedness out of doors. Those are not illusions. You know what I'm saying? And the cause of that is not illusions. The divine understanding said, in a world where youth are taught what to think, the 5% teaches how to think. And uh, you know, that's kind of that's true, right? But this is what I'm saying. We speaking to each other right now. So that's kind of, you can't put all of that in the title, right? But this is a question for each person. You know what I'm saying? Like, what good can you be, right? And how can you do that? You see, that's what a lot of people is paralyzed. They got all this truth, right? But that's one of the first problems is you don't even know how to talk to us. Like if you run into some 85s, right, and they're eager to learn, they may or may not be eager to learn this knowledge per se. Zach, you said wrong forum, but much thanks on the cipher regarding 1010 date. What you saying? The internet is the wrong forum? Righteous ruler. This righteous ruler from Mass. But that's what I'm saying. Like to take a lot of people out of that state of paralysis. Like where do you fit in at? You know what I'm saying? We know you fit in, we the knowledge, we the foundation and all of that. But, in terms of, various people, you know what I'm saying? Like, see, you might have, one person that they already excelling at school. And so, that person, then you might have another person that's not even attending school. So see how you affect both of these people. This person right here, you're gonna push them forward to go as far as they can go. This person right here, you're gonna try to get them at least the minimum that they need. Yul Adamus said the facts and circumstances altered in the age of individuals, and one age of the facts will be that is completely fine with the belief system and moral structure, and another it will change. But see, right now you kind of contradicting yourself, because if the facts and circumstances, right, you saying is altering in the age of individuals, right? If they're changing, what you're talking about is the perception of those facts. You know, they may be perceived as moral or immoral, based upon the environment that those facts exist in. But if the facts are changing, they got to be real. If the facts are reacting to individuals, or the facts are changing, due to the actions of individuals, then you pretty much contradicted yourself. Yeah, but Zach, we was talking about wrong form. Felix Almanzar said by also staying relevant with the times. I mean, indeed. But when you say relevant with the times, right? Do you mean dressing how the young people dress and using the slang that they use? Look, if you can't answer these questions, the 85 you try and teach ain't gonna be able to answer them. Jigga 1017 said, going through that with my nephew, he wants to debate about the validity of the Bible and why I call it a Marvel comic book, but found less resistance by going back in there and showing him he's God. He still wants to look outside, but he's starting to look within. Yeah, I mean, the at least looking at it from the outside in, when I look at it, yeah, there's even been changes with the way that they indoctrinate people into religions now. You know what I'm saying? But if it's in them, it'll come out. He said, facts like all knowledge is just like water in a cup. It shifts to the belief system of the cup. Well, what about water that's not in the cup? What are you talking about? See, first of all, right there, I mean, I don't know who you are, but right now, you're on the page where, the 5%, we teach. What you explaining right there is not knowledge. That's wisdom that's in the cup. And it's, we don't teach that it's going to conform to uh, belief, but it's going to conform to the knowledge that it springs from, you know. But welcome to the channel. I don't know where you from, UL Adamus. Where you from? He said each situation, struggle, success, poverty, peace brings a degree of experience that I can teach from. I can't guide the youth through something I've never faced per se, but once I've lived it. Yeah, now look, that's one of the things that happens in society is that, you know, uh, the things that people is going through, you know what I'm saying? Like, uh, when I was growing up, there was no social media. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole way how I interface with the world was different. Yeah, UL Adamus, where are you from? And what brings you here? What brings you here to, I guess discuss knowledge and wisdom, what you doing here? You said wisdom is how you use the water in the cup because holding water in a cup is worthless. Uh, well, yeah, we can agree with that. Is but the water. See, first of all, uh, knowledge is not of a finite nature, and this situation you're describing of a cup and the cup controlling knowledge, right? Is that doesn't correlate in 5%, 5% science there. But you still haven't answered the question, where are you from? Well, as I understand, it says social media was outside. Pretty much. But see this right here, right? This is what I'm saying, right? See what's happening right now with Adamus, right? Even though, I don't know who he is. But see, we could get into that, right? Where me and him is we going back and forth and we discussing what's knowledge and what's wisdom and the cup and the using and the cup and all of that, right? But the situation outside is still the same. The situation inside is still the same. But we've had a discussion that uh, you know, satisfied, whatever ego that we got that year, we was out there dealing with that. Like, yeah, that's the first phase, right? For everybody, is that we gotta you know, deal with development. We got to deal with development of our mind. We got to deal with development of our body. You know what I'm saying? You know, in all those aspects. You know what I'm saying? The discipline that requires, you know, all the various preparation, right? But when you preparing yourself, what are you preparing yourself for? To just be prepared? I mean, that's good if you want defense. Because we saying that, all right, your duty is to go out there and teach the uncivilized, right? Then it's like, all right, and what ways have you prepared yourself? You say you're from many places. Okay. So now, you know, you know, like I said, welcome to the channel. But being that you're from many places, if you from everywhere, that means you ain't going nowhere. And I don't want to get to nowhere with you. So, you know, like I said, welcome to the channel. Shout out. You know, click like if you're enjoying yourself. But I'm leaving the rabbit hole now. So just you know, in general here, you know what I'm saying, as we continue on, right? You know, what is the things, right? And check this out in particular, right? This is not a pile on session, right? Where you talk about all the things that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? But you know, what are some things that you see the young in need of? You know what I'm saying? Like the brother said, okay, you already had certain experiences, right? And you know, you've been successful in some and you've been unsuccessful in some, right? And so, you know, just from the standpoint of, okay, you know that this is just life right here, right? That everybody is gonna is gonna, you know, have to go through these ciphers, right? You know, what is it that you can add on that could cause people to be, you know, the youth to be more successful in the ciphers that they're going through, right? And then of the things that they need, right? Do you have any of those talents or skills, right? And then look, you got to go back, right, and ask yourself if you really did your duty, right? Did you really did your duty if you never prepared yourself to make your word bond? Because you was the one that said you was who you was. You know what I mean? I just accepted that until you showed the proof. Okay, see, now you're talking some sense. Adamus, is that what it took, man, for you to start talking some sense? You said the young black youth just don't want to go along with the system that doesn't serve them and has not served any of their people in history. Well, you know, once again, I'm just telling you, you know, we the 5%. You know, so the only system we deal with is that of supreme mathematics. You understand what I'm saying? You know, we understand the system, right, through our lesson, the 1 in 36. You know what I'm saying? And how we was indoctrinated into a system, as you were saying earlier, of belief. You know what I'm saying? And of you know, a systematic way of living. You know what I'm saying? In terms of uh, how much we was required to work, you know, how much time we had to rest, how much, you know, that when you know your whole life is prescribed by the bureaucracy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, right, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, that, you know, for you to be, you know, be given a whole other language, and you know, this to be used across the whole population. You know what I'm saying? That is systematic. You know what I'm saying? When all the people, you know, even the people who is not necessarily administering the system, they still, you know, live according to the system. You see what I'm saying? Like when they had the you know, the kind of slave patrol where it's like even the people who didn't own slaves was required to go out and capture runaway slaves. You see what I'm saying? So even though they don't they're not slave owners, they're living in this slave system. Yo, you all Adams. Now look, I already asked you where you from. You say you from everybody. Look, I'm gonna ask you this. Where you went to college? Because this kind of word salad that you use it, right? Hey, look, man, you asked for it. This is me right now, Adamus. This is this is me right now. This is me right now listening to you, you know, or should I say reading your comments. So you didn't go to college. Well, look, I gotta ask you, where you learn this kind of stuff? Because I never see stuff that you know doesn't make sense on this level from people that didn't go to college. Like that's generally hand in hand, right? These type of concepts right here, you know. And look, shout out to college. You know what I'm saying? Look, you know, my daughter got a daughter just started college right now. You know, and I encourage that. You know what I'm saying? We, the 5%, are about education. But see, one thing we know about education, listen, Musa dealt with education too. But he taught trick knowledge and devilishment. So we're not against education, but what are you being educated in? Unseen variables in the system. Who ain't seeing them? Pardon me, y'all. I ain't mean to have to break out. I didn't mean to have to break out crying will. I didn't mean to have to break out crying will. You know what I'm saying? But this brother or sister, I'm not sure. Uh, they required it. See, I said I was going to leave this person alone, right? But look, this is the last. I just got one last question, right? Adamus, what is your diagnosis? What is your diagnosis? See, I asked because you seem sincere. You don't really seem like a troll. But see, I'm gonna tell you this is the reality, man. And look, at the conference, that was one of the things they discussed. They discussed mental health at the conference. And see, what I could say, man, in terms of that is, look, you got to handle that first. You got to handle that first. You see, because this knowledge is for people that's on 6.9999999. See, so see, if we give you a little bit of knowledge, you good. See, that's all you needed, right? You was on 6.99999. All you needed was the knowledge. But see, you give the knowledge to people, you know what I'm saying, who sometimes is in the negative numbers. They not even on the basic common reality, right? Where we can have a discussion with them. Like, see, look, if you discussing something with somebody that sees people and hears voices that they react to that they think is real, right? How you going to explain to them, what we saying is, look, there's no mystery, right? We saying that something don't come from nothing. Yeah, well, to them it does. See, this is New York, so it's a lot of people. You know what I mean? So you see pretty much every condition. So what I'm saying is, look, I see people walking down the street, right, and stop and start arguing with somebody. Now, how am I explain to them that that person is not real until they, the chemical balance of their brain gets back at least to being able to observe the common reality, right? And being that we all in a common environment with common laws, right? Common laws of physics and chemistry and all of that, I'm saying, right? With these common laws, and we make these common observations and we come to common conclusions. Other than that, you can't do nothing for these people. You said that is the belief system projection. Once the bubble of their belief is formed, it becomes a palace that they need to defend, even if it does not benefit them. So, like, is this the hospital you talking about? Like, are you describing hospitals that you've been in? The common reality is built on their belief system. That's what I'm saying. And because of the culture, they're not living in the same reality. Okay, so let's start here. Let's start. Look, somebody pull me back, man. Somebody hold me back, man. I'm trying not to get involved with this guy. But look, one thing, let's start here, right? It appears that you just made an admission that there is a common reality, though. Correct? Do you agree that there is a common reality that can be objectively observed? You said, I'm talking about how rap music becomes manipulation, sports became manipulation, religion became manipulation. Yeah, but I keep telling you, okay, so you from everywhere, right? Let me ask you this question. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am and where I'm from? You said the common reality that can be objectively observed is mathematics. I would only add on right there supreme mathematics, right? And the energy of the system. But okay, we there. We hey look, see some places, but this is what I'm saying. This is what makes it seem like multiple personalities. Think how it was. You say you're not exactly sure where I'm from or my exact personality, but you seem to be an intelligent person and trying to teach individuals. All right, so now I'm asking you, right? So that being the case, are you here to teach me? Because I don't get it. Because you're saying these things, and look, I want you to know this too, right? In this particular episode, in particular, we're discussing solutions, not problems. So see up here when you're saying that you're talking about how rap music became manipulation, sports became manipulation, religion. Okay, we understand all this. See, that's why I asked you, did you see I'm God? The black man is God. And see, all of us, right, we have within ourselves, right, the power to manifest our salvation from whatever, you know, hells that's around us. So, I guess maybe that's where we might be, missing, we might be missing the target on each other there, right? Is that see, uh, I'm not here to be, subject to these things that you're talking about right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to be the master of all that limited, all that limited stuff that you're talking about right there. We call that six, right? I'm here to be the master of six. You know what I mean? These things that you're saying is reality in terms of, yeah, these is things that we have to be able to teach the youth how to navigate. See what I'm saying? Because some of these things you got to expand, even like where you say right here, where you say religion became manipulation. See, it's many other religions now. You understand what I mean? Not just spiritual religions, like you got Christianity and Buddhism and, various stuff, but you got other, you got uh, certain stars. You got certain stars that, they have religious followers. They have people that look at them the way Christians look at Jesus. You know, and a lot of these things is things that the youth is caught up in. But you know, you tell us problem after problem, we heard you. You know what I'm saying? Listen, it's been the same problems since Frederick Douglass. He said, whoever was the first brother, whoever was the first brother to start writing about these problems, he's writing the same stuff. She was the dude out there, Richard Allen, he's talking about the same stuff. Is that the guy from Philadelphia? Cuffy, he talking about the same stuff. Prince Hall talking about the same, whoever you want to get. So we know what the problems is. The key is, do you know who's supposed to be solving it? You said the solutions and the understanding, then the world unfolds to your hands. All right, look here. Have you ever heard of the 5%? You know, I keep finding that we got to go further and further back to the root here. Have you ever heard of the 5%? Okay, somebody get Michael Cartman out of here. Thank you, someone. Yeah, Shaganulu. You did the right thing. Hey, look, we already got one is enough. You know, at least look, at least he's not Voodoo Harris. I give him that credit. Because see, Voodoo Harris had the knowledge and wisdom and ain't understand it. You know, Adamus appears to not have the knowledge and wisdom. You said the youth can learn how to use the formulas based in what is perceived as the common mathematics to decipher anything in the world. So once again, have you heard of the 5%? You heard of the 5% nation of gods and earths. Have you heard of that before? Come on, it was taking you so it was taking you so long. When you say this other stuff, you answer like that. All right, see, I can't talk to you now because you don't want to answer the question. You know, it's a simple enough question, when you're ready to answer, then maybe I could respond to you again. You know what I'm saying? But there you go, right there. That's for you. Can't call it. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. The diamonds, look, I'm gonna give you. See, generally speaking, I put people out. I'm gonna put you out for 1 minute. I'm gonna put you out for 1 minute and give you a chance to think about whether you wanna answer the question or not. for right now, for right now, you go on timeout though. So yeah, getting back to the point there of the solutions that we really need to come up with. You see what I mean? Because see, that's a thing, right? Where some people is able to speak on the problem so well that it make people feel like they did something. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of a difference, from my observation that you see between uh various leaders. You know what I'm saying? Like leaders that we've had in the black community over the years, right? Is that, many of them just constantly discuss what the problem is, and some of them is good at evoking the emotion from it, and they got the statistics to back it up, and the family stories, the community stories, the history, whatever, but they never actually work on anything that is effective. You know what I'm saying? Like if you press to say, okay, what did this person do or what did that person do? You know what I'm saying? Or even a lot of times, like especially if you go to young people, right, and you ask them about the leadership from their community. You know what I'm saying? Like I recall being, young, and uh, whenever the discussion of the NAACP came up, I really only knew them from the Jet magazine and the Ebony magazine. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew of them historically, being around the civil rights movement, but they wasn't a huge name that I knew from the civil rights era. You know what I'm saying? So you know, that was one of the complaints that, yeah, I mean, we don't know, I've never seen them do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you was to ask me right now, even to this day, right, where's the NAACP uh, building in New York City? I've never known. Like, I could have passed it by 1,000 times. I never knew it was in there. You see what I'm saying? And so this is one of the things right now where, like I said, in the past, you hear about that. that, yeah, you can't come out your house without seeing ciphers. You know what I'm saying? It's a cipher that way, it's a cipher that way. Whichever way you're going, you running into a cipher. So, if we get to a day and time, right? Let's say it's not yet, right? But let's say we get to a day and time where people is asking, yo, who's the guys, who's the 5%, right? They saying who's the guy, who's the 5%, and people is like, yeah, nah, I don't really, who's that? You know what I'm saying? They from Harlem, right around here. you see, you see that would just go to show that we not doing our duty. So yeah, I expected a little bit more. I expected a little bit more comments. Uh, in terms of people being able to answer that question. You know what I'm saying? Because look, I mean, even from the perspective, like, is that some of the stuff that's going on? Where it's like, people don't actually know what the value of the 5% is, even to their own self. So a lot of things you might see going on, or a lot of things that is not going on, right? Is that one of the things that is based on? Listen, man, we starting to get we starting to get some newcomers, let's say, in the comment box over here. I'm not sure what that means, but shout out to you. Welcome to the channel. So Shaka Nulu said, "Don't know and don't want to know is the attitude." I mean, uh, the value has to be shown. You know what I'm saying? And see, one of the things that's happening, right, is people is taking bits and parts of our knowledge and doing a lot with it. See, like, we can name, person after person that has used our knowledge, right, and made themselves rich and famous, right? But they only used a part of it. And so just from the outside looking in, if you see this person over here, they've gotten this far with the knowledge. Like, it's a different day and time because we exist. Like, it's not gonna go back to the days, like, when I first heard that the black man is God, you know, you might as well have told me that it was a Martian standing on top of the standing on top of the corner store. Like, I never heard that before. It was the wildest sounding concept even. So now it's like, all right, people already know that. We already told them that, okay, God is just man. Okay, so now, or every level counts, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Until you complete the cipher. So that's what people see. All right. We can detect the knowledge, but where's the wisdom that y'all keep talking about, that y'all putting this into activation? If you saying heaven is right here on earth, right? Now we already experiencing the hell part. We could agree with you on that. But now, what's going to be the signs? Like if a person, you can't just go on what people are saying, right? The 85 would be taking that on face value, right? If they didn't consider, like, okay, if I get involved with that, right, am I going to make it out of hell? Is that going to help me? Is that going to help me make it through hell and come out right? Right? Why wouldn't a person look at it and say, okay, the people that I see dealing with that, they dealing with death, hell, and destruction, or they dealing with love, peace, and happiness? So especially when you're dealing with youth, right, that they got a short-term outlook. They see where it's love, peace, and happiness right now. So see, even a lot of times they might be attracted to something, right, that looks like fun, but ultimately that leads them in the wrong direction. But see, in the whole of the lessons, right, where does it say, where does it say what the duty of children are? It tells you what the duty of the civilized person is, the person that has the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So is it their duty to try to figure out the language that we speak, or forget about duty? Is that just who we say we are, right? God of the universe. The universe is everything, right? Sun, moon, and stars, man, woman, and child, right? So yeah, we, like I said, we can converse with each other, right? I tell you the truth, you tell me the truth right back, because we both know it. But what about the women and the children? Can you be universal like that? Shot Kim, what's the deal? He said youth immediately want to know what this knowledge can do for them, as opposed to what they can offer this culture. I mean, look, that's the world. See, back in the days, remember that was like that what you just said, right? We used to learn that in school, because that was a part of John Kennedy's inauguration speech. You know what I'm saying? Ask not what your country could do for you, but what you could do for your country. And so that kind of, you know, all for one for all kind of, you know, mindset. It was being taught in a lot of different areas of life. You know, but you know, all of that to a certain degree is a part of making it real though. Right? It's a part of making it real that, you know, look, this is not salvation right here. You see what I'm saying? When a person want to know what this knowledge is going to do for them, it's a matter of, you know, what you going to do with it. You know what I mean? Because, knowledge is that way regardless. You know what I'm saying? It's about you putting in the activation. You know what I'm saying? Like a person could go to college, right, and get a degree in physics and then do something else. So if you say, you know, how's that knowledge really gonna, but like I said, the main key, right, is that we gotta be demonstrating, what it could do. He said, my nephew has an issue with me saying he or I is God. He wants me to explain creations if I was there since I'm God. How do you see that? I mean, that's just a part of his religious mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, you know, when you say that, see, his definition of God, right, is the magical white man that exists in the sky. You see what I'm saying? And all of these powers that the magical white man has. You see? So generally speaking, whenever people ask me stuff like that, I tell them, look, tell your God to write it down. This is what I would tell. Tell your God to write it down on a piece of paper, right? And then when he write it down for you, you come and then I'm gonna tell you, and then you compare. You know, look, I write it down. Get your God to write it down. Then I write it down. Then you compare, see what's what. But see, you go to the church and put money in the plate over there, and then he ain't got to do nothing. You didn't ask him. You didn't ask him to do that before you put all that money in the collection plate. When you put the money in the collection plate over here, and then ask me to do something. So my response is I showed up in 75, and once I got knowledge of self, was able to dictate and control all aspects of my life and working within the laws of the universe. I wasn't around back then. I mean, listen, you know, that like I said, that's just the idea that people, you know, if you've been to church, you've been taught that, you know, it's supposed to be all these saints and the Jubilee and all of this when you see God. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at it, look, maybe point that story out to him or that little coinky dink. You know what I'm saying? That, every time there was a savior on that level, right? The people ain't know who he was because he was a man. See, people ain't accept Jesus because he was a man. People ain't accept Muhammad because he was a man. They ain't accept Buddha because he was a man. And what they was looking for, right, was a ghost. So, as long as he's looking for that, it's one of them things. We seen people do it all the time. Where they over there looking for something and they don't see the reality that's right there in front of their face. Because they too busy searching for that does not exist. This time that he's talking about, how he know that exists? Yeah, and all the history of Islam has never been revealed so far. But hey, look, maybe they'll find something with their new telescopes or something. Who knows? I don't know what happened. King Sen ain't never hit the link unless he hit it and I ain't noticed. Whew. Crazy episode. But yeah, we a little bit far out there. You know what I'm saying? So we could get to the question part. If we got any questions, we got the screen vertical today, so it's a little bit dangerous me asking that question. But you know, do we have any questions about what we covered so far on the on this live stream, or any other questions? Said I'm building a flux capacitor as we speak. So I guess explain to the people, if you've got time, what a flux capacitor is. See, that's the type of science, you know, uh, how would you say that we have to, those is the kinds of things, because, stuff like that, when you talk about, electrician and plumbing and construction and these types of things, it's not just about, getting a job. These is survival. This is survival knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get in a situation where, things break down. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been in various situations in the last years. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had Hurricane Sandy out here. You had Katrina, tornadoes, various things happen, I'm saying, right? Where you might find yourself in a position, right, where now you truly understand what it means when it says he likes the devil because the devil gives him nothing. See, now you would know why it says nothing, because see, you wasn't paying attention to it. But see, now that it's gone, you see that there's things you can't even survive without. You see what I'm saying? But that type of knowledge, what you're saying, being able to deal with electricity, right? You know, being able to know how to, purify water so you could drink it. You know what I'm saying? Knowing, which things you can eat, which things you can't eat. All of that type of stuff is included. So just saying that, that's the type of knowledge that, we got to be expressing to the young. Because like I said, that's something that they can use on multiple planes. Said I'm going to use it to go back in time. Hey, listen, if you go back in time, take out Voodoo Harris. Take out Voodoo Harris. Hey, look, and tell Fard to get Nori. Tell Fard to get Nori before. If you don't get the Voodoo Harris in time, right? If you miss the exact day and you don't get the Voodoo Harris in time, tell Fard to get Nori. Some DPD is coming. See, Adamus is back. Look, I'm gonna give you a little benefit of the doubt right now, but I don't know what you're talking about. See, one thing, Adamus, you got to remember that. See, look, I'm gonna give you an example, right? I'm gonna give you an example, Adamus, right? Suppose if I said you two plate water down bottle, right? Now, see, if I say that, all those words, right? Bernadette, Bernie, peace to you. I'm a lady here. Is that okay for this? Yeah, of course. You you could be here. What you must have heard? You must have heard that I'm the president of the He-Man Women's Haters Club. Don't let that deter you. You know what I'm saying? From checking us out here at the Random Jews channel. When you get to know me, I'm really a nice guy. But yeah, getting back to Thomas, you see how those words, all those words, but putting those words together in that particular sequence makes no sense. See, when I read your comments, that's what it is. It's like these words, like, yeah, I know these words, right? But put together in that sequence, right? Put together in that sequence, right? In response to, what the conversation was already about, it doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, I don't think you're a 5%, but see, one of the things, we say, we have knowledge, right? And then, our words is our wisdom. We put that knowledge first in the activation through our words, and then that knowledge in the words that we speak is supposed to bring about an understanding, right? A clear mental picture in the mind of the person that we speaking to. So see, I'm not used to having a conversation like this, right? And then I don't get a clear picture of what it is that you're saying. You know what I'm saying? See, like I said, I'm from New York, so I see a lot of people speak different languages. So see, I might have somebody come up to me and start speaking Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? Or a lot of times, look, we got a lot of African brothers here. So sometimes an African brother will come up to you and just start speaking African. You know what I'm saying? And then after, he'll say, "Oh, you speak Wolof? You speak French?" Like he'll be looking for a language that he speaks that I speak. Then then he said, "Where you from?" Yeah, I'm from New York, man. My birth certificate is still New York City. You see what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is that sometimes, as you talking, it's like, yeah, you might as well have been speaking Wolof. You know what I'm saying? And me personally, that's like the worst thing in the world. Like, see, like right now, I've been talking all this time. If I was talking all this time and nobody understood what I was saying, I'd punch a hole in the wall right now. I couldn't even live with that. He said it's something in a movie. Yeah, I don't watch movies too much. You know, I guess at some point, like in the 90s, like the last movies, like Will Smith was still like the top paid actor when I was watching movies. Like going to the theater, yeah. So my second question is a beating horse. I'm not in terms of poor righteous teacher. How do you see the poor part in terms of so-called floppy pockets? I mean, for me, it is what it is. It's what it says right there. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's making a distinction. You know, so look, if poor doesn't mean no money, then what does rich mean? Like, you know, when it says he makes himself rich from their labor to 10%, that's telling you that in this environment we in the wilderness of North America at the time when Elijah Muhammad was making the lessons, right? You know, and really you could see it to this day, right? That, you know, uh, being sincere, you know what I'm saying, and you know, really, uh, you know, like look, this how I see it, right? Look how many, look how many, uh, look how many subscribers I got, right? And look how many subscribers Vlad TV got. But let's not even use Vlad, right? Because he's a colored man, right? But you know, take your pick, right? Any channel, right, where they, you know, telling people things that lead them, right? And for the most part, that's what it comes down to. They saying that, meaning they could get more views talking about, they would be talking about this knowledge. You see what I'm saying? But poor righteous teaching, right? What it means is that if you look at my YouTube check, if you look at my YouTube, right? if you go back and you look at Polite's YouTube check. That's what it does, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's so, in terms of you, look, like I said, that's what it is. If you expecting this, right, to make you riches off of just these teachings, now how you apply these teachings and go out there and move around in the realm of six, because that's where money is from. You know what I'm saying? That's what luxury is about, right? Having the best of equality. That's the bottom line, G. You know what I'm saying? If what you want is the riches, right? Go another direction. See, look. Okay. A while ago, wait a minute. Oh, this is somebody else. Who is GURI? Welcome to the channel. You're making some kind. Do you know UL Adamus? You know what I'm saying? Now look, me saying that, see, like I said, it doesn't mean that you can't take that out of your lessons. You know what I'm saying? You can't take that out of your life. You see what I'm saying? The same way we took elements of the 1 to 36 out of our life. You know what I'm saying? And we took the devil off our planet. You know what I'm saying? And all these various transformations that we make, the changes that come about in us through this knowledge, right? And through activating this knowledge. So see, that's just another thing, right? That we had the ability to reverse polarity on that, right? You see what I'm saying? These same conditions, yeah, we could take it and get the best of equality for ourselves and the people around us. You see, just like we could take black and brown, right, and build a nation of God. You see what I'm saying? Whereas Yakub took black and brown and made the devil. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of that, yeah, I don't try to dress it up. You know what I'm saying? I I don't try to dress it up, but I understand the various ways, you know what I mean? Because like I said, you're supposed to take it out your lessons. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to take it out your life, not out your lessons in terms of that word, but you're supposed to take it out your, the lessons that you showing people out there. It's these lessons that people get off of reading the paper, but there's lessons that people see just from you moving around out there. She said, mine is the, hold on, because a second ago I could have sworn I saw you say something in here. Then you said, knowledge, know the ledge, right? That's what I'm saying. I thought I saw you say something that made me think you was a 5%, right? But then now you're talking down here. Mind is the master. We are the master over the work, resources, and money. And money is not the master over you. The maker, the being, the Khalifa of civilization. Hold on for a second. See, I've been looking at this small screen all day. My eyes are a little bit blurry. Let me try to. I gotta really let me back up a little bit. The maker, the being, the Khalifa of civilization, being, becoming, the master over being. G Wright 504 from New Orleans. I subscribed under this a while back. Born God, Cypher Divine, Supreme Allah on FAMU campus, 2005 to the 720 degree. G-Ride is my spin on my government name made to a calling name. All right, now look, earlier we was talking about remaining relevant. So look, maybe I need some help here, right? Does anybody know what he's saying? Like maybe I passed that crucial stage in life where like maybe he's kicking a new slang or something. I don't know. Am I out of touch here? Like when I get off of here, do I need to listen to some rap music or something so I can catch back up to the modern times? Like what's going on right now? This is me. Hey, Don Bishop, is the young guy at the rest? Don Bishop, if the young guy is at the rest, tell him to read this here. Tell him to read this here and see if he can decipher this for us. Not enough space here to type it all condensed. Yeah, see, you're trying to make it complicated. Why don't you just simplify it down? Why don't you see that's what that's good for. that's what stuff like that is good for, right? For you to be able to make your thought concise. See, that's one good thing that comes from being in the ciphers, man. Is that, see, when you open your mouth in the cipher, you're supposed to know what you're saying. And so you got to ask yourself all these questions before you get there. And see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of these times is, look, man, there's some questions you got to answer, and only you can answer. And you got to be able to answer it before you go out there. Before you go to do, whatever interaction you're doing with people, you got to be on your square. Forget about when other people is testing the square. You got to test yourself to know what you can do, right? And know, look, what you can do, where you can be, and where you can't be, and what you can't do, and how you need to do it, because you know who you are and what you can do. But how you know? How you know with no? You've never showed and proved yourself. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Are y'all the same person? I'm gonna tell you right now, if y'all the same person, I'm kicking you out permanently. Because how come all of a sudden now y'all saying the same thing? Yeah, because of the word limitation, individuals have to condense and compress the information they're saying. Bro, you've written paragraphs. You've written paragraphs in here. Now you talking about the word limitation. Ain't no word limitation. This ain't Twitter. You put whole paragraphs in here. Now you talking about the word limitation. I limited your words when I put you out. You said the young guy. The young guy said that's not the young people talking. So wait, the young guy said, "No, that's not the young people talk." The stuff that he's saying is not the new slang. You said it cut off when I was saying Supreme Allah from Tampa gave me the knowledge of self on FAMU campus in 2005 before Parliament changed the rule required 240 degrees to enter the cipher. Okay, now G right. Uh, can you fill me in on that? Because I've been doing this for 40 years. I've never heard of this that you're talking about. Like there's a rule. Wait a minute, man. Hold up. We got to come back, man. Hold up, man. Are y'all telling me? Are y'all telling me that I'm kicked out the nation now? I gotta bring it back. This is me right now. It's me right now. You know, I've just been informed. I've just been informed that I'm out the nation because Parliament changed the rule requiring 240 degrees to enter the cipher. So I'm kicked out? How does this? Wait a minute. How did this? Hey, look. See, True Divine, you foul, son. You ain't even tell me. You ain't even tell me how much times I seen. How long I've been out. When when they made this rule. Wait a minute. Let me see that again. You need two 240 degrees to enter the cipher. He said, what is hardest on the ego is often what is best for the soul. Now look, I don't know who you are, T, but it sounds like you talking about the hot seat. I, I, it, sound, it sounds like you know you might not be one of us, but you observed. You said I was told at least 240 degree 5% to be brought in the cipher and be know to be present. I went to the cipher and was told straight from the text Okay, what text is this? What you said you need at least 240-degree 5%. And when you say the parliament, where's this parliament that you're talking about? Yeah, but here's the thing. G Ride, whatever, right? Whatever your how you say your name right here, right? Uh, my question is still, right? Here's my question still, right? What is the 240 degrees? Like I've never even heard of that. Supreme Allah had his book of life. He showed me and taught directly out of. I came presenting the tree of life, and they stated I have to learn strictly from the manual. The manual? This is the second time I heard about some manual. Can anybody help? What is he? What is he talking about? You said it was broke down to me 120, 240, and the 360 to the plus lessons. Hold on for a second. He says we got look. I got you. You got because you said that you can't type enough, right? So here, look, I'm gonna send you the link. I'm gonna send you the link, right? And maybe you could come in. Maybe you could come in and maybe you could come in and break some of this stuff down. The 120, 240, and the 360 to the plus lessons. I don't know what the manual is like. This is the second person. I'm saying that like the last, I would say 3 weeks or so, that has mentioned the manual. True Divine. You never heard of the manual either. you True Divine. You never. Cause yeah, I never heard of the manual. Are those the rules that wasn't mentioned in the lessons? Yeah, but if they not mentioned in the lessons, how they gonna be in the manual? Wouldn't that make the manual the lessons that they are mentioning? said negate the word manual. I meant to say the lessons, the 1 to 85, lost and found, solar facts, lost and found, Muslim lesson, and the plus lessons. Okay, once again, look, you know, see, you got the knowledge of 2005, right? And a lot of times, the people that got the knowledge in that era, they talk about, how people that got the knowledge in my era is, we not with the times, we not with the, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm just asking anybody out there, can anybody fill me in on what is the 1 to 85? Or starting with Supreme Math and Supreme Alphabet. So Adamus says 120 lessons. So Adamus, how are you doing this? Like, you got 2 phones? You got 2 phones, so you type in from G Ride and UL Adamus. Look, I give you, that's some that's pretty slick right there. You said 120 knowledges, wisdom, and understanding. Yeah, see, that's weird. Look, let me help you. Let me help you. This is where you're going wrong at. See, you're supposed to have 360 degrees of knowledge. 360 degrees of wisdom. 360 degrees of understanding. 360 degrees of culture. This what you saying. Look, if I was you, I would find this Supreme Allah that you talking about and choke him out. I think that's the only, you gotta find him and choke him out, right? And ask him, why did he tell you this BS? It's a part of the 5% teaching. And no, I'm not the same as the other individual. He says he goes to college or went to college. Oh, you got a point right there. G. Rod went to FAMU. No, G. Rod said he was on FAMU campus. He didn't say he was going to classes. You got to watch these people. He said he was on the campus. Yeah, but see, you talking about, look, here's what you do, you Adamus. Go on Chat GPT, right? And type in, who is the 5%? And then, right after you type in that, right? Type my name in. The name you see right there, Darkim be Allah Christ. Who is Darkim be Allah Christ? They know me. But just here, you know. See, the thing is, man, don't play. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you wanna deal with the knowledge, right? You gotta be as you are. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, if you don't have no knowledge, right? You got a Christian name. You know what I'm saying? You had a ham and cheese for lunch. you know, whatever it is, right? But look, don't come faking. Don't come faking like, you know what I'm saying, you got the knowledge. Like, just, you know, I don't know where that's cool at in any walk of life, right? But that's the main thing. You know what I'm saying? If you just, uh, you know, admire some of the things, some of the principles that we have, and some of the things that we talk about, then do the knowledge. Do the knowledge. That means look, listen, observe, but remain silent. You know what I'm saying? You can say peace or whatever, but you know, you trying to interject as if you teaching what I'm teaching. You see what I'm saying? And even if you was teaching what I'm teaching, right? I'm not the reverend. I don't need your amen. I don't need none of that. You said I may need to take my own words to heart. No, it's my channel. And see, on this channel, right? I've never presented, right, that anything other than that I am who I am. So you don't seem to have the knowledge. You seem to be intelligent enough to try to manipulate through the knowledge for maybe a YouTube channel, but don't seem to have the actual knowledge. I'm done listening to you pontificate over stuff that you do not understand or even understand. I mean, you know, like, you know, this is like, you ever watch a TV back in the days? That was like an old joke, right? Where a person used to get fired and they say, "You can't fire me because I quit." Bro, you was fired 45 minutes ago. You got kicked out for, is that you just came back? See, figured it out. You came back just so you could say that you left on your own accord. Nah, you was kicked out. When you wake up tomorrow and you tell the people about what happened, just say, "Yeah, I got kicked out." Hey, listen, I know you've been kicked out of better places than this. you, you've been kicked out of live streams. You've been kicked out of live streams with more people than this. I understand. See, Bernadette, look, I apologize. I Bernadette, see, I didn't mean for you to see this. I didn't mean for this to be your first live stream. You know what I'm saying? And you had to see me. You had to see me deal with matters like that. You know what I mean? I apologize. We'll do better. So we're all in school there. Okay, so G. Rye is saying that he did go to FAMU. I'm from New Orleans. Others from Philly, Tampa. I graduated too. I stood on my square, and when they told me just these questions and answers, I mean, what is? I'm saying, you went to college. I came from Louisiana and seen the Cypher Gold commercial on the park at 84th. After the Wapti Wim video by Hollywood, I traveled around a lot. I'm saying, I'm gonna tell you something. Uh, I don't think. See, with these sentences that you're making, right? I don't think FAMU once you telling people that you graduated from there? And I'm gonna tell you, listen, I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. My mom's went to Florida A&M, but I never seen her make sentences like this, man. Like I'm saying, you you saying that, like, look, I still got, you know, like, let's say right now, right, my daughter that's in college, right? Let's suppose she came and said, look, I want to transfer to FAMU. See, that's a hard no right now. See, this is the type of thing that happens when I know I'm getting older. Because the only thing I can think is there's no way an accredited college was supposed to give you a degree and you make these sentences. Bro, you can't even graduate out of New York City public school with that. Free Big Lurch. Who's Big Lurch? See, the first thing before we free Big Lurch, man, what did Big Lurch do? Because if Big Lurch, if Big Lurch is nuts, then I don't know if I want Big Lurch around me. See, that's where I'm at right now. See, you either did it or you didn't do it. If you didn't do it, let him out. But if you did do it, look, maybe let's evaluate if you need to be around the rest of us. So I tell you, I got a daughter that she's out in the street going to college and everything. I don't want her running into Big Lurch. You know what I'm saying? And Big Lurch is crazy. Said Big Lurch is innocent. Okay, if Big Lurch is innocent, then look, let Big Lurch the fuck out of it. But we ain't here to politic. We ain't here to politic for people that look. You see, you put yourself in that position. Yeah, well, B, I don't know if you heard, but we don't exactly, we not exactly, uh, we don't have a relationship with law enforcement where we could get Lurch out. You know what I'm saying? That's not, you know, I ain't, shout out to you and Lurch, but right now, uh, all right, G Rod, I'm gonna give you much like I gave your other personality there or whatever. I'm gonna give you a minute timeout here, right? So you can think about what you're saying. Think about what you're saying and what you need to do to be right. But I can't let you talk no more. Wait, hold up, man. We got some other reports here. They saying that Big Lurch, I mean, I don't know who this Big Lurch is, but we have uh, some other comments here that maybe Big Lurch is not of the most pristine character. Is he the rapper who got dusted and did some crazy dust head unaliving? Big Lurch is an American rapper, poet, and convicted unaliver. He is serving a life sentence for murdering 21-year-old roommates Tanisha and eating parts of her body. Yeah, see, look, you said he got framed. Look, I'm not gonna get, cause see, I'm not gonna look up the paperwork. I'm not going, I'm not about to look. That's what I'm saying. I don't get involved in all of that. But this is quite a thing to get framed for right here. Like, who frames you? You know, I mean, yeah. That is actually, look. That's why I took the stance I took with it from the jump. Is that look, if he's guilty of this, they need to free his ass already. They need to free his mind from his body. You know what I'm saying? But if he didn't do it, then hopefully you'll be able to come up with some evidence. Hopefully you'll be able to come with some evidence to help him. But this right here, man, come on. Hey, Jigga said 17. Woo! All right, now look, B, you already said what you said. You said what you said. Now, because this is a channel, I can't just be on here. Like I said, I don't know who Big Lurch is. But you saying that he's innocent, it's only fair that, these other comments here get some airtime too. You know what I'm saying? Because I definitely don't want to be seen as supporting somebody that did this kind of stuff. As from the jump, what a lot of people is going to think, B, is that the whole time I've been alive, I ain't never been accused. Like, how do you get accused of eating somebody? Like, how you get framed for that? How you? Hey, nameless. I don't know, nameless. You know what I mean? But look, especially look, I finally got a female viewer. We got Bernadette in the room. I can't. We got. We can't be seen. We can't seen. We can't be seen to be supporting guys that eat women. Pause. But we can't. We can't do that. Woo! A medical examination performed shortly after his capture found human flesh in his stomach that was not his own. Okay, B, look, we had enough. I don't even want to hear no more of this. Okay, you said the victim's mother said it wasn't okay, whatever. But look, just stop, just stop. Let's don't go no further down this right here. This this is not a true crime channel, right? We don't look for the paperwork. We don't expose the snitches. This is not this channel. See, that's what I'm saying. See, for me, and that's a real thing. In my lifetime, right? I used to watch stuff like that, right? We're gonna give B 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But it was a time when I used to watch a lot of stuff like that. Arabi. Like I used to watch like the true crime stuff and stuff that happened to people. Yo, saying the day my first daughter left for college, I stopped watching all that stuff. When I watch stuff like that, it fucks with me now. You know what I'm saying? I used to watch all types of crazy, crime stories. People do all types of stuff to each other. I can't stand to see stuff like that now. See, that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. You see, when it was just me, you know, I felt like I could take care of myself, what I'm saying, in various situations. You know what I mean? So at that time, I didn't mind being in hell. You know what I'm saying? My mind state is always heavenly, but I could walk through hell and it don't even really bother me because I'm under the impression whatever demons I run into in here, they ain't ready for me. You know what I'm saying? But then once I start having kids and everything, that's when I start realizing what's the difference between death, hell, and destruction and love, peace, and happiness. Yeah, we've had some crazy detours here today. But look, I told y'all where I messed up at. I realized as soon as it was when I pressed the button, see what it is, this vertical stream is the default way. So if you don't recall specifically to turn it sideways, right, then it goes with the vertical. So, unfortunately, because I made that little error, we've had some well look, we got Bernadette. You know what I'm saying? I guess we gotta count that as a positive. But we also entered the dragon there a couple of times. So I guess back to the segment that we really on here. Does anybody have any questions before we wind this one here down? Before we wind this one here down, and I regroup. Of course, I got to check my messages and see if King Sun hit me back. For whatever it was raining today. I don't know if y'all know, but in the northeast up here where I'm at, it was big rainstorm. They call it a nor'easter. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't go outside today. I got time. So after this, we're gonna check the messages and see. You said YouTube became my crystal ball. How so? Anyone? She said, I look into YouTube and see the whole world. You know, I used to think that too, but at this day and time, uh, I'm a little bit more of the mindset that, uh, YouTube is like some kind of parallel universe. Remember you had the Hall of Justice and the Legion of Doom? The whole YouTube is like the Legion of Doom. You know what I'm saying? You know, and another way I look at it is that YouTube is like everything on steroids. You know what I'm saying? Like there might be real people out there that relate to that topic, but on YouTube or on social media in general, it's over the top. YouTube, yeah, I don't, yeah, it looks like they, the shorts a little something, but see, with me, it's I'm in this lane right here. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of that stuff is, I use it, it impacts, but New Year 70 said I missed the first part of the live. Luke Cage, how do we reach the next generation? That was actually an open question for the room. Because see, it's not one generic thing. That's a question, right? That everybody has to ask themselves. And I'm saying you got to ask yourself that before you go out to interact with the next generation. You know what I'm saying? What good could you be to them? You know what I'm saying? What is it that they need you for? You know what I'm saying? Like what is it that you see out there, right, that they need to uh that they need to be complete with in order to make it out of hell, right? And have you prepared yourself to deal with that? Have you prepared yourself for your word to be bond, right? Because you said you self a savior, right? That you live out the mathematics, knowledge the born. That's knowledge born, right? So when you go out there, you know what I'm saying? Do you have the power? Do you have the power to be the savior to somebody? See, these is all the various ways. See, this is why look, we was taught to know our lessons, right? And prepare ourselves on that level mentally, but we also was taught to go to school or get a job or have a trade. You know what I'm saying? And be out here in the world having experience and being successful with experience, right? So that we could be prepared to fill that role. You know what I'm saying? In our family and in the community. So Bernadette. So look, I'm glad you finally bring us into bring us pull us back into the realm of reality here. She said, how do you help them? They need to be nurtured. Uh, so New Year's 7, he said they only seem to respect sliders out here. So let me ask you a question, right? What age are you talking about? Because see, that's another thing that happens is, you know, a lot of times people wait until these kids become hardened. They see by the time they dealing with sliders, by the time they out somewhere where they respecting sliders, it's really too late, G. You know what I'm saying? It's at a point where you can't, the way they're gonna have to, uh some of it is gonna have to be experienced. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to experience the hell, right? And want to get out now. He said, do we judge the impact on the next generation by volume or quality? Um, I don't know if either one of them is the best measure. You know what I'm saying? I would measure it by the whole society. You know what I'm saying? By the society we live in. You know what I'm saying? Like if everybody doesn't have the knowledge, right? I'm talking about everybody doesn't know 120 lessons, right? Everybody don't go to rallies, but they know righteousness and unrighteous, right? They pro-righteous. You know what I'm saying? We've affected the community in a way where, you know, uh, your daughter or my daughter or anybody else's daughter can walk down the street and we don't have to be worried about what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? We can send our kids to school with whatever items, right? And not worry about what might happen to them, somebody trying to take it from them or whatever. You see what I'm saying? You know, as opposed to we was in a community where everybody's calling each other God, right? But you know, it's everything that's going on in the atmosphere is detrimental to even the survival of kids. You see what I'm saying? So, for me, that would be the biggest measure, you know what I'm saying, of, like just in terms of when we look right now, like the brothers say they only respect sliders or whatever, even when we look at what these kids put in their mind to aspire to, you understand what I mean? Because whatever it is that they conceiving is what they're gonna be achieving. So if they conceiving of themselves as the next big gangster, for the neighborhood and shit that put on for the hood, right? Then they're gonna end up getting, the outcome of that. We had long enough to, of seeing that happen and know what the outcome is. You understand what I'm saying? As opposed to if they conceive of righteousness in their mind. You see what I mean? So that's why I'm saying it has to be these small kids and you have to plant seeds. You see what I mean? Because you got to remember, right, that, you know, almost everything that we do is learned behaviors. Like, yeah, there's some things that's, natural to us, you know what I'm saying? But, when you see a dude being a gangster, that's something about the environment that he was in that taught him to do that. You see what I mean? When you see somebody going to Harvard, you know what I'm saying? If you see somebody in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? Those is all things that they learn how to do. Like, yeah, there's a physical component, right, of them being a certain size, but those is all learned behaviors. You see what I'm saying? From seeds that was planted. So by the same token, you gotta plant seeds. You know what I mean? It's not like, yo, you gonna go up and talk to a 13-year-old, right? Especially one that's already been exposed to the sliders and everything, right? And then the next day he's gonna be, standing up building in front of the rally. You understand what I mean? Because it's like the older you get, right? And you know, this atmosphere that you describing, right? I'm saying the older that you get in that type of world, right, you start to get infected with the poison of that world. You see what I'm saying? So now it's going to take you a while to get that poison out. Instead of, you know, because look, when you see these people, right, you can take any gangster, the most hardened dude, right, that is on death row. But there's that picture of him, right? There's that picture of him at his grandmother's house, right? Where he's the sweetest little kid. You could tell that the pain hasn't come into his life. You see what I'm saying? That response of that callousness, right, is not there yet. You see? And those is the time that you got to be effective. You know what I mean? 12, 13, especially in the world that we in now too. You know, where the things that they could be exposed to on the internet through music and everything, you know what I'm saying? You know, kids was a little more shielded from that at one time. You know, so all of these is the reasons why you got to get in there and plant those seeds. Because remember, they plant the seeds in all, look, the video games that they play, the different curriculum that they get in school sometimes. So, you know, by time 12, 13, a lot of times, like, yeah, now you got to start over. He said, we need a new God MC, I think, to draw them up. No, I don't think, I think that that served its purpose. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is, uh, that's still fad and fashion. You know what I'm saying? There's some things that, you know, with entertainment, with art, you know, this artistic license. You know, like if a person just got up and quoted the Bill of Destroy degree to a beat, you know, if the beat was raw enough, you know what I'm saying, it might come off, but it's you know, that's just the knowledge and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the understanding in the culture. You see what I'm saying? They hear it on the record and they know the words, but see, you can apply those words, right? You know, you could use supreme alphabet, right, or supreme mathematics for that matter, right, to, you know, communicate the full meaning behind those words and those numbers, right? But you could also use it to conceal some negativity that you want to do. You could also use it, right, to keep your wisdom above the heads of the people. And see, if you don't have the culture with it, right, where you know what to do with this, right, and you know how to do it, you could end up off the deep end. You know what I'm saying? The knowledge and wisdom is out there. What's needed right now, right, is the execution of knowledge to born. What's needed right now, right, is for us to show and prove that our word is bond, right, and we are who we say we are. And look, the proof is in the pudding. That's 5% 101, right? The proof is in the pudding. So look, we got to show the pudding. Where's the pudding? Remember that commercial back in the days where they say, "Where's the beef? Where's the pudding?" Otherwise, we hear you talking. Hold on one second. Little orientation. We're gonna have a little issue here, but not that much of an issue. I have to plug this in before we lose whatever we have there. Can y'all still see me? I gotta back this up a little something now. To change the perspective. But okay, let's catch back up here. What is this right here? So the goal is to teach the youth about personal finance, long-term investing, and day trading. As I'm stacking wins, working with my younger family now, and hope to collab with Absolute Truth in the future. Yeah, that's a big thing right there. You know, knowing how to navigate out there in the realm of six. You know what I'm saying? Like we up here with all the, the science and these things that's mental, right? And we understand, how things is, symbolic. You know how they say the law of correlation and all of that. You see, when you talk about man, woman, and child and stuff like that in the wilderness of North America, that's another thing that when you say what the poor means, it means that here things cost money. We in a capitalist system. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know how to navigate it, right, and capitalize, then you will be capitalized on. We have to make the culture of death look corny. This society makes the culture of death look cool. We have to change the narrative of what cool is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you what you're saying, but I'm saying that in terms of media control, you know what I'm saying? The media has the media control. You know what I mean? It's the reality is something that I actually see happening a lot now. You know what I'm saying? Well, I would say what I think is a good way to go is what I see happening right now is where, that's like a religion that people believe in. You understand what I'm saying? They believe in all these things. They see, the OGs and everything, almost like holy people and all of that. You see what I'm saying? So, the people that have, been through that life, they got to come back and tell the young homies whether they lied or not, whether the big homies lied or not, whether it's really all of this, whatever is the promise, you know what I'm saying, of if you put your life and freedom on the line, right? In reality, all the things that happens is you lose your life and your freedom. You know what I'm saying? And as those people, start to let them know more that it's nothing glamorous about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, at the beginning when you in the court, yeah, you don't fold, don't bend and all of that. But, after that time, you're going to come out and you're going to get a regular job like you could have got from the jump. Except you just, I mean, look, that's one of the main things for me. I ain't going to lie. I don't understand how they get that many dudes to just swear off women, because that's pretty much what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? When you caught up in this life where it's like, look, you're just gonna be crashing out and crashing out and crashing out, you know, and you know, you're gonna constantly be locked up. I mean, you know, that alone, I'm sure if a lot of people thought that out, they would you know, but it's simple arithmetic. That, you know, how many people is really gonna make $1 million out in the street? So if you really think about it, if you're gonna, let's say you make $1 million, then you go to jail for 20 years. Look, the dude who got a job at the post office he's gonna be better off than you. In the long run, he's gonna get more money than you. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you know, it ain't no retirement plan for you. See, by the time you go to jail and come out, right? That dude that worked for the post office, he gonna already retire from the post office, be getting that pension, and then have another bullshit job. You know what I'm saying? And be caking. And you gonna be sitting there all tight, like, yeah, man, this nigga, he's soft, and this. Yeah, but he doing his thing. It's a simple arithmetic. You know what I'm saying? But you know, yeah, you're right about that. I'm just saying that the people that's showing them that, right, is, you know, the powers that be. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, if a person is a gang member, you know, they use that as a promotional tool. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm sure there's a lot of kids doing music in Chicago, maybe even drill music, but the ones that is suspected of unaliving people, we're gonna use that as a marketing tool. You know, once upon a time, that was something that you found out. Like, oh, this person, oh, get out of here. They really in the game for real. But I would say at least since Snoop, that's been a marketing tool. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you know, gangs is like name brands in the, you know, in the hip hop world at least. How do you feel about the Urban League comparative when the Father Allah created the Urban League Street Academy? Okay, somebody decipher that question for me. I'm not even. I don't. What are you talking about? Somebody tell me what that question means. Bernadette, can you help me? I just listen. I'm thinking maybe somebody can help me. Bernadette said as soon as they learn one, two, threes and ABCs, you can teach them and they start retaining. We dumb them down because we second guess their ability to understand life. True indeed. Especially uh, you know, as time goes on. You know what I'm saying? As time goes on, it's like you know, it takes you a longer time to figure something out than it takes for you to teach that to somebody else and them to absorb it. You know what I'm saying? So as time goes on and the more things that people got figured out, they're able to introduce them to children and children can skip that. They can shrink that time down that it takes to absorb those lessons. You know what I'm saying? So most definitely, you know, like sometimes, you know, if you just look at, uh, you know, you listen to the conversations that kids have these days. You know what I'm saying? I don't recall people really understanding those concepts. You know what I'm saying? But especially these things that we talking about, uh, you know, knowing righteousness and unrighteousness. You know what I'm saying? Uh, knowing who you are, so that you know you don't get caught up in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? That's doing negativity. You know what I'm saying? Where that's not you, because see, especially for us, we could get caught one time, with somebody else that's doing something. And in all reality, it could cost us our life depending on who our friend is and what they doing. And you're right about that. Those things, they don't even need to really know ABCs and 1, 2, 3s for that. You know what I mean? For them to already be in certain environments, right, where just on the monkey see, monkey do of it, they realize that it's certain ways that we go about doing things. You know what I'm saying? There's certain, do we care about how our brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? We know it's strangers, but our brothers and sisters that's here, right here with us, do we care about what's going on with them? All of those things is not even the ABC 1, 2, 3 thing. No, I was born, said my son is 9, his squad is like 11 to 13, and I don't allow him to wear shiesties around me. Yeah, they look, but look, the government can thank themselves for that. Bernadette said by the time they reach peer pressure age, is too late if they haven't been nurtured and continuously taught. That's what I'm saying. You're picking up what I'm putting down. You know what I'm saying? Because, and that's just the thing, is that, see, like, even when you send them to school, when you in school, you learn more stuff from your friends than you learn from the school. The impact of your friends is greater than the impact of the actual education that you're getting. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, how it influences your life. You know what I'm saying? You know, the things that you go on to do, the kind of, taste that you have even in various things. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that gets shaped by the peers, more so than, the teachers or the lesson plans. Listen, man. We don't want to hear about LL Cool J. Bernadette said, I'm not in your nation, but I'm speaking of helping the next generation to do better. I mean, well, yeah, that's why, I say, a lot of that stuff is it's about how you live whatever it is that you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, whether you a 5%, whether you a Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, it's about how you living that out. You know what I'm saying? Are you living out righteousness or unrighteousness? You know what I'm saying? You adding or you subtracting. You said, what do I think of Lord Jamar's greatest story never told? I never heard it. See, one thing you gotta remember is that I got the knowledge before all these people came into what's in it. You know what I'm saying? Before they came on the radio and all of that. So they don't their existence is not as important to me as it is to people who, like, they first got exposed through Lord Jamar. You know what I'm saying? Or they first got exposed through, Wu-Tang or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? And, you get exposed, you can't really control that. How you, first experience the knowledge. But, I don't really think about entertainers. You know what I'm saying? Like, how I look. I drop it on you like this. You see how you got stars, right? Stars that's way out there. And look, I mean that figuratively and literally, right? You got stars, right? They way out there. Meaning they're not having no impact on what's going on in the solar system, really. Like, yeah, is everything in the universe having some impact on it? Yes, but those stars out there, right? They not having no impact on what clothes we wear today. They not having no impact on when the farmers supposed to plant their crops or take them out the ground. See, it's this sun right here, this star right here, that's in the solar system. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of them people look, they stars, right? They got to disqualify themselves, and we see them way out there, but they not with us. So I don't got no time to think about them. See what I'm saying? Like, if Lord Jamar ain't putting no money on his candy for the kids, right? When we do what we about to do on Halloween, if Lord Jamar ain't helping us, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, we gotta renovate the school. You ain't got $2 on it. You know what I'm saying? You say you got to pay for the whole thing, but you're not adding on. So see, a lot of times that's what it's like. Yeah, we spending time thinking about people that, yo, bro, they not coming, son. Larry Bird's not walking through that door. Kevin McHale, Robbie Parrish not walking through that door. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you saw Lord Jamar, would you ask him how he feel about the truth? So, I mean, I hear them, man. At the end of the day, like I said, I don't chase them down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for nobody. Nobody doesn't need to explain nothing to me, right? But I'm just saying that this is this. You know what I'm saying? And I know what this is, and I know what that is, and I know what the other is. And I know what's not this. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I give it to you 100. I don't listen to none of his music. Even the stuff that I did like at that time, I don't listen to none of his music. It's not about canceling it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to it. I'm not saying that, it makes you less than a 5% if you listening to it. That's just how I am. Bernadette said, let the babies know who they are and how they conduct. As soon as they learn the 1, 2, 3s and ABCs, they can understand. We don't give them enough credit. I mean, see, with us, you got to remember, in the 5%, right, these principles is coming as a part of the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. So you got to remember, we're not just teaching 1, 2, 3. We teaching knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You see what I mean? And so from the jump, right, if we teaching them that knowledge means to look, listen, observe, and respect. See, that's a big one right now. That's a big one right now. See, just simple respect, right? Half of the people, half of the violence could be cut down just with simple respect. At least half of it. You know, and so these lessons, you know, when you're dealing with the 5%, they come with the 1, 2, 3s and the ABCs. It's just a matter of us. It's a matter of us. You know, being able to explain it to them. What you say here? Write 10 things that you do that don't make you God or earth, and write 10 things that make you God or earth. I mean, I understand your point, but I don't like that wording, God. Because nothing can really make you God or earth. You know, 10 things that demonstrate that you God or earth, I would say. See, because if something can make you God, then that thing has to be more powerful than God. That would be difficult. Equator 7. Welcome to the channel. The mathematician. Long time no see. You said it's just the life story of Allah in a song. That's all. That's the only joint on the 5% album I really listen to. Yeah, nah, I mean, I heard the 5% album, so I guess I did hear that song. But, you know, yeah, I don't. You know, it's I mean, I guess, you know, see, I know the life story of Allah. Like, you know, some things, that's what, like, see, look, did you know Allah's sister just returned? Bernice? I went to the service. I was out there with King Universal, you know what I'm saying? Allah's nephew. I grew up with him. So see, it's things that, you know, he's told me, you know, time, you know, where he's so he's like, yeah, my uncle this, my uncle that. You know, all types of stuff. Like, yeah, I remember, yeah, me and my brother was walking, you know, and my brother had been messing up. You know what I mean? So we run into my uncle, and he saw, you know, whatever, you know, he's going through the family's, you know, his history with a lot. So just saying, like, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, just in terms of that, like I said, I'm not really saying anything about you listen to. I'm just saying for me, it's like, yeah, I don't need you to tell me the story of love. You know, and I mean, look, let's cut to the chase. We know that me and Lorenzo is not. I don't rock with Lorenzo, right? Right? And Lorenzo, uh, you know, in his own words, right? You ain't got Darkim here to save you now. So you pick on people. You pick on people when I'm not around. See, that's what I'm saying. See, you're not my kind of person. I don't do that. I don't do that. See, that's the difference. See, that's my equality with my power, right? Is that I use my power to pick people up. You see what I'm saying? I don't use my power to kick people down. You know, but him on the other hand, you know what I'm saying? He's not with us. So, you know, for me, I'm not going to be listening to this stuff anyway. So I don't know. Did you know? See, you probably wasn't on the channel then, New Year 70. But there was a time when he was a part of the intro. You know, we got quite a few stars. We got quite a few stars. You know, we got quite a few stars that you know, they don't want to come on the Random Jews channel. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, but let me tell you something. In 06, he still was the same way, man. See, that's what I'm telling you. That, you know, I don't want to burst people's bubble, man. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that it's not like in 06 he knew his lessons. It's not like in 90, 91 he knew his lessons. Like, people heard him speaking our language on the record, and then you made that leap, right? You filled in the rest of the blanks. You know what I'm saying? But when you say this was before, like 06, like in 06, he was on point. Hey, look, that's like you saying the 1999 Allen Iverson, the 2001. That's like you saying, look, that's like the 2001 Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? Well, you can say, yeah, in 2001, yeah, AI was untouchable. It's not like that. I'm just saying, listen, ask around, right? Don't take it from me, because I just told you, me and him, we don't get along, right? So ask around, ask some other people if they haven't been in a cipher with him. Ask some other people, have you ever been in a cipher with that brother? And see, look, I'm gonna tell you, New Year's 7, this for me, right? Of course, we didn't, you know, flat Earth has been discussed and all that. But New Year's 7, I'm gonna tell you what to me says that he's not with us. If you look on his channel, right? If you Google on his channel, there's a video that says Lord Jamar explains supreme mathematics to Rod Digger. Some of that nature, right? Google that, right? In that video, he starts to go through the mathematics and he says, we got it wrong. Because we say knowledge comes first and we put cipher at the end like it don't even matter. But really, cipher comes before knowledge. See, God, that is in direct contradiction. See, because now, see, if one comes after zero, then you're saying something comes from nothing. And see, when you put the cipher before the one, is zero. In supreme mathematics, we don't have a zero. Because a cipher is after it goes from knowledge to born, right? A cipher is a person, place, or thing. So how could a person, place, or thing be zero? So see, that right there tells you, right, that his foundation is from someplace else. There's nothing in our teachings, right, that will lead you to say that. You went and studied something else and decided that that was right and exact and this was wrong. And look, everybody's free to do that. See, everybody is free, right, to pursue whatever they think is just and true. Right? Everybody can deal with whatever they think is just and true. Right? And we have equality amongst each other, right? We either gonna have good equality or bad equality based upon how you carry that out, what you think is just and true. You know what I'm saying? So if what you think is just and true is you went around the world and you've taken what you think is the best part, right, from all these various things that you experienced and you came up with your own thing, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? But don't expect me not to acknowledge that, see, look, you went around and you got your own thing. See, when I saw Supreme Mathematics, I found my thing. But you know, look, at the end of the day, you know, see, look, even the stuff that we talking about, you gotta remember, here's the knockout blow. Here's the knockout blow for him, right? The babies you trying to teach right now wasn't even born in 06. People that's born in 07 is 18 now. Why Supreme? I seen why. Look, why Supreme is 22. Why Supreme came to me one day and said, "Yo, who is this guy, Lord Jamal? Like, I don't get it. Why's everybody?" He's like, "I don't understand. Like, why is he a thing? Like, why is he even around? I don't understand." See, he doesn't know anything about '06 LJ. He doesn't know slow down. He don't know none of that. You see, that's one of the things we got to keep in mind is that, okay, that right there was limited, right? And then we trying to teach something that's unlimited through something that's limited. So it's always going to come out distorted. But that's the knockout blow for that, man. Look, he's in terms of that, that's already came and went, bro. See, that's like me talking about the high school days. Like, yeah, is there some memories or whatever? But if that's all I'm talking about, meaning if I don't have no plans right now, like I'm saying, look, you know, we got the candy we're gonna give out to the kids, right? You know, if I don't have nothing like that and I'm still talking about high school, yeah, something's definitely wrong with that. You see what I'm saying? So if that's his claim to fame, that you made a couple of records, you know what I'm saying, back in the days, and look, you was rewarded for it handsomely. We don't owe you nothing. You got paid off for us. We didn't get paid off for you. Hmm? Nah, it's not a can of worms. Look, New Year 7, I'm not upset. I'm not I'm not upset at all. You know, but just sometimes, when the like, look, I was gonna have a show, right? Actually, it's funny because look, we got Bernadette. I don't know if she's still in the room, right? But I have an idea for a show, right? Where I was gonna discuss, you know, why, my understanding on, why a lot of times when you see things that's black power or black liberation, you know what I'm saying, or you look at Islam and all of that, you always see that the man is the foundation, right? And the women is usually, they usually spoken about a little more indirectly. And that's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to have a panel on when I do that show, because I don't want it to seem like if I'm saying things that's too harsh and it's just coming across that way. Yeah, that would be definitely a can of worms there. I don't know. Do we have any? Is any of the sisters in here? Is Wisdom be born in here? Maybe some of them will come on and bail me out. Maybe some of them will come on and bail me out so I can speak freely. Nah, I don't think this is. I don't think after I finish saying what I got to say, I don't think this channel will be considered Hotep. True divine. So that's why we study our lessons, learn our lessons, and put our lessons in our everyday conversations to teach the people so they could wake up. You know, the ones that have sparked something in them. For a lot of them, there's was trying. I need to flip this back. I think I got enough juice. Okay, now I can see. My eyes, my eyes is going little by little. Wisdom be born. There you go, right there. Yeah, did you just hear? Did you just hear about the show, about the episode that I want to get lined up. I was watching what's the name of this channel? Queen, is it Queen Poe, I think? And she had a young queen on the channel that was born in a nation. You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about her journey and everything. And so, that was one of the things that she mentioned was that, uh, once she got to a certain age where, she was old enough that, she's like just kind of out in the world, you know what I'm saying? And that, eventually, when her pops passes away, that she gets back into her lessons, you know what I'm saying? But You know, by the time she gets back into her lessons, now she's been out into the world, you know what I'm saying? So now she's a feminist and a womanist. So when she sees the lessons, she's like, yo, you know, why isn't it talking about the black woman more? You know what I'm saying? And you know, just you get that other guy that keeps coming on here talking that goddess stuff and all of that. So I was gonna, I wanted to build on it, you know what I'm saying? But see, if I come on and just start talking, then it I probably have a lot of answering to do at the next rally. So I need I need some people to bail me out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, now Wisdom Be Born, I don't use that name no more in reference to him. He got a son, and I still call him that. You know, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And that was my guy, man. I'm telling you, Wisdom Be Born, that was my guy, man. I used to maintain with the guy and everything, but listen. So yeah, I don't know. If I get enough people to come on the panel, then we'll have that discussion. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, yeah, I do have some other matters that I want to address, some things I got to clean up that just people in my opinion, you using people's name in vain here, man. You know what I'm saying? Where you know, and just where it's clear that you're speaking from a mindset that you picked up on face value. You know what I'm saying? Like, how it's like, something happened and you got multiple people that was there. You didn't talk to none of them. You didn't talk to the people that was on that side, or the people that was on the fence. So, we got that episode. You know what I'm saying? We got a couple more. I got some interesting ones. I told y'all about the Asian guy. You know what? We might cover that tomorrow. And there is, hold on. I'm going to show y'all another thing. This is interesting. I don't think I'm going to cover this. I don't think I'm going to do a live stream on it, should I say, right? But check this out. I'm going to put it in the I'm going to put it in the chat box right now. This is something interesting. If y'all want to check this out. This is a website. This story right here is about the CIA the Symbionese Liberation Army or whatever that was in the 70s. That was they was famous because they was the ones that had kidnapped Patty Hearst. You know what I'm saying? That's a while ago. A lot of people probably don't remember the story, right? But look, what they call that Stockholm syndrome. That's one of that story is one of the reasons why I never really listened to that Stockholm syndrome thing. Because what I knew about that was that the Symbionese Liberation Army right? MK Ultra, yeah. This story, that video, that's what part of it is about. It's about the dude who was the leader of this Symbionese army, right? That he had been a long time snitch, and then he ended up in jail at a time when people who is known to have been, operating things for the CIA, and at the same time when these MK Ultra experiments was taking place, and that, he came out from there and he started this Symbionese Liberation Army. And, during the time they robbing banks and they doing various things, Patty Hearst is involved with the robbery. She's involved with all the crimes. Like with they showing her with weapons, they showing her, in the banks and everything. And so she ends up in prison. And that was how she got off. Was that they came and said that she had Stockholm syndrome, and so that's why she was doing these crimes. So I always kind of saw that as like, uh, you know, it's like to me, it's like a Karen thing, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Where like, yeah, all right, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the case, everybody could claim Stockholm syndrome. But yeah, if we're gonna get out this rich heiress, then we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it like that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? But at any rate, that video, when I saw it, it made it even more interesting. Because like I said, I'm thinking that Patty Hearst got off because she was a rich heiress. But it turns out that another reason may have been because this was a CIA operation. You know what I'm saying? And if you go on to that page, they got uh a lot more other situations where they saying that, yeah, this could have been some type of psyop or whatever, CIA, FBI, whoever being behind it. There's that, and we got to get back to the Bernstein Muhammad. What was her daughter's name? Her daughter that she has some type of stories about Fard. She said you can only claim Stockholm if you got paper. I mean, yeah, that's the kind of thing, when I first observed it, as a kid, that's what I thought about it. You know what I'm saying? And I had always carried that, but yeah, it turns out that I learned quite a few things. Medina? Who's Medina? Jermaine Jones, welcome to the channel. Oh, Medina Muhammad, that's an all right, yeah. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me Google it right now. I'll Google it right now, and maybe we can go ahead and check it out tomorrow. Let's see. See, when you put in Medina, Muhammad, they think you Arabia. See what happens if you put in NOI. I have a testimony with Medina Muhammad. Yeah, I don't know if what is this? Okay, Medina Muhammad, the daughter of Mother Bernstein Muhammad. So this is an episode. We'll see if she's talking about Far per se. Do we have a particular? Do you have the particular link where she's? Was she speaking on Far? This one looks like it might. This one looks promising. The root of civilization, the early history of the NOI. On this episode, we sit down and talk to Sister Medina Muhammad, the daughter of Mother Bernstein Muhammad, the first and only secretary of Master Fard Muhammad. She was the sister-in-law of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the wife of the Supreme Minister, Minister John Muhammad, brother of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We discussed the early years of the Nation of Islam and the historical accounts of Master Fard Muhammad from her mother's notes. So we're gonna check this one out right here tomorrow. Let's see how that goes. So we can get to, because we heard what Andrew Morrow and what was the other dude, Khalil. We heard what they had to say. So let's get another perspective. Send them to my Instagram. And we'll get back into that, man. Seeing what the history is with that right there. You know what I'm saying? And look, Shaganulu, you know, if you what is that again? The flux capacitor. If you get the flux capacitor to work, right? You know, take out Voodoo Harris. Don't let take out Voodoo Harris. And if you miss Voodoo Harris, make sure you tell Fard to get low so he don't get caught by the Detroit PD. See what I mean? Then we won't have to be finding Fard. We wouldn't have all these questions if it wasn't for this guy that don't understand. So that's why I gotta keep these people who don't understand away from us, man. You know, it's not discrimination. It's like, look, you know how you doing something, like you playing with some kind of fire or something. You know what I mean? You doing something with some fire, and you got some small kids. You tell them, all right, look, stay back, stand back, stand back. You know what I mean? So you don't get hurt. Cause see, that's what can happen with this knowledge right here, right? People get hurt all the time. You know, not saying by us. I'm saying they get hurt going out there, right? Putting your word and you can't make it bond. You see what I'm saying? Like you putting your word, but that's not your life. You see what I'm saying? Like you going out there and you manifesting certain things. You know, you putting on certain shoes. You know what I'm saying? You know, you might not really be God, but people see you with the uniform on. People see you with the uniform on that you got. You see what I'm saying? You fuck around and throw your back out. You fuck around, throw your back out, trying to carry 616 tons. But that's who you said you is. So when people pile that weight on you, right? What you thought was gonna happen. So yeah, we got that lined up then. You know what I'm saying? I already see another link come through. You know what I'm saying about that. So maybe we'll have more than one to check out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to check it out beforehand, so we could do it in real time. You know what I'm saying? You know, we had a couple of new people and everything. Shout out to y'all. Hit the subscribe button, the notification button, so you can know when we come back on. Everybody else that made it this far, hit the like button. I'm going to sign off and say peace, and we'll be back here tomorrow.